I'm Jabi, and this is dear Wela.
So I'll be sharing with you a simple recipe which my mom taught me, which I know you're going to love so much. The ingredients are ready, so let's get baking. The first thing I'm going to do is just get my mixing bowl, and I'm going to add all my dry ingredients. Starting with the cake flour. We are going to need just 3 cups of this. Perfect. The next thing to go in is going to be the instant yeast.
You need a tablespoon of instant yeast.
It makes our dough rise very quickly as opposed to how people used to do it traditionally back in the day. The next thing to go in is going to be the salt.
That's 3/4 teaspoon.
I'll be adding just 2 tablespoons of white sugar. So I'm just going to mix this together on low speed until it's nicely blended. Okay, so as this is mixing, I'm going to be adding my lukewarm water.
I'm adding about a cup.
And we're going to wait for it to mix beautifully and thoroughly.
The dough will form a ball, then you know it's ready.
Okay, so we've got a nicely mixed dough. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to prepare my surface where I'm going to be kneading the dough. So I'm just going to sprinkle on some cake flour. Just a little bit, not too much. This is going to help the dough not to stick as I knead it. So what you want to do when you knead your dough, you want to press one hand down like that. You want to fold it to the front, and then you're going to bring it backwards and keep doing that until it's perfectly kneaded.
The more you knead the dough like this, the less sticky it will become.
All right, so our dough is nice and ready. So what you want is an elastic consistency. All that we have to do now is put it into a baking tin and store it away in a hot spot. The reason why I'm going to place it into a baking tin is simply because it retains heat so much better, which is what we want for this dough to rise beautifully. So I'm just gonna fetch my baking tin and a cloth to cover it. And I'm gonna place my dough inside. You see how it doesn't stick? This is perfect. A perfect dough does not stick. Keep that in mind. So I'm just gonna close this up with my cloth to seal in the heat, and I'm gonna store it somewhere very hot.
I have a sunny spot and it's just perfect to get the dough to rise.
So we're gonna wait about 30 minutes and go check on our dough if it has that beautiful rise that we're looking for. Dough is looking perfect, just the way I want it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a non-stick baking tin, and as you can see, this is not like your normal size baking tin for like a traditional loaf size. This is a mini loaf baking tin. The reason why I prefer using this type of tin is simply because they bake much quicker than the traditional loaf size ones, and I love the look of it because they look super classic. So I'm just gonna take the dough out. There we go, it's looking really good. And now what I'm gonna do is grab my knife, and I'm going to show you a special technique which my mom taught me. I think I was about 10 or 11. It's a special technique for you to separate the dough and get it into the perfect size that you want. The reason why I'm going to use this technique is simply because we don't want to lose the elasticity of the dough. So what you're gonna do is you're going to tilt your knife like that in an angle, and you're just gonna score the dough until it separates into the sizes that you want. I'm only going to be making 4 of this. You do have to apply a little bit of pressure so that it can separate nicely. There we go. Okay, this one is slightly big, so I'm just gonna cut it into half because they still have to rise in the oven. There we go. So this one I'm gonna store away and I'll use it another day. That's the best thing about making bread. So I'll be making something else special another day with this dough. We just put it back there and roll this once. So I'm just gonna roll them. Then I'm gonna place it into my baking tin and just press it so that it goes all the way to the sides. Alrighty, so now all that we have to do is put this into our preheated oven. We've been preheating it for about 30 minutes at 180 degrees, and we're gonna bake for about 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, we're going to have nicely baked homemade bread. It's smelling fantastic in my kitchen today. I think the bread is ready, so I'm just gonna take it out of the oven. Just grab my gloves. This looks the best. Alrighty. How gorgeous is this? Just look at them. So I'm just gonna give them like a few minutes to cool off, and then I'm gonna start making the kotas. So I'm just gonna run you through the ingredients that I have. For my filling, I'll be using some potato chips. I've got chicken polony, French polony, some delicious acha, Russian, my homemade chili sauce, which my boyfriend loves so much. And of course, I've got some mayo. What's a kota without mayo? Can't go right. So what I'm gonna do, once these have cooled off, I'm just gonna cut off the tops. Then I'll take out a little bit of the bread from the inside, and then just to make a nice hollow so that I can fill in all this lovely yummy goodies here. By far is my favorite meal, simply because it's part of the traditional Kasi style. This is how we roll in the ghetto, y'all. What I have in here is different types of flavors. They come together beautifully. I've got my acha, my chips, my mayo, Russian, French polony, chicken polony. People love to enjoy this meal in different ways, but what I like is to take a big munch. So I'm gonna grab this one. Oh, and I'm just gonna squash it so I can get all the flavor. Look at that. All right, let's do this. You have to try this. It doesn't get more ghetto than this. I love it, I love it, I love it.
My mom taught me to bake. Working in the kitchen with her, creating the most delicious baked goods. And now, I've translated these ideas into straightforward recipes for the everyday kitchen. Tasty and easy. I'm Jabi, and this is Wela.